welcome to another episode of Prime Impact. Are you spilling already?
No. It's a fuzzy. It's a fuzzy on my mug.
And this one starts out just great.
We're going to change the show to Pistol Impact.
Yeah. I'm your host, Dr. Impact. This numbnuts.
I'm the man with the drinking problem, Dragonus Prime.
How are you? It's been a week. How's it going?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How about yourself?
Yeah, not bad. It's kind of nice. The weather's getting colder.
Yeah, no, I love this time of year.
Yeah, it's my favorite time of year.
Good time to go take a walk.
Yes. Leaves change, pumpkin patches, all that kind of stuff starts coming into play.
Pumpkin spice, everything.
Are you a pumpkin spice fan?
I do like pumpkin spice.
I know that a lot of people rag on the pumpkin spice thing.
Well, they call it the basic B word.
Yes.
I'm not going to curse. It's YouTube.
Yeah, it's... I like it. I like pumpkin spice in my coffee. I like pumpkin pancakes.
I haven't done it in my coffee yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've just done like pumpkin spice pancakes and, pumpkin spice cookies and stuff like that.
Tune in next week and we'll have pumpkin spice in our coffee.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I'll have to try that.
But the other good thing is...
October baseball.
October baseball.
Yeah. It's what I've been working on all week. I've been doing baseball drawings.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been doing my favorite... I'm a big Cardinals fan, a big baseball fan.
It's no big secret. My Big Fat Pull List is recorded in St. Louis. All of the videos are shot in St. Louis. We are all... the pull listers, we're all St. Louisans.
Right.
And even though not all of us are big sports people,
it's hard to not like the greatest baseball franchise in MLB history.
Well, and it's it's hard to be in St. Louis and not be a Cardinals fan, even if you don't like baseball.
Yeah.
It's such a thing that's ingrained. So yes, Cardinal baseball is a big thing for us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been doing some Cardinal drawings. I've been posting them on the social medias and such. So they've been garnishing a lot of attention, which is kind of interesting.
They're great.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, they're really awesome.
I really like that.
It's a great series, and what we should do? We should send them to the Cardinal organization.
Yeah.
See what they think.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah. Or at least I guess we should preface that it's October Cardinal postseason baseball at the time of this shooting.
That's true.
We are going into the postseason. By the time this episode airs,
we'll have won the World Series.
Yeah. Fingers crossed we'll still be, by the time this episode actually drops, we'll still be in the postseason, but we'll see. We don't know. But the other great thing about this time of year, Prime...
What's that?
Is the whole season is Halloween season.
Oh, I know.
And even though this isn't technically a Halloween episode, I am going to start us off today with a review of a horror-themed manga.
Interesting.
Yes. It wasn't planned this way. It wasn't like, oh, we're in October, we should do a horror-themed one. It was one I wanted to read, and so I thought we'd start off with that.
Oh, well, I did not go that route whatsoever.
No?
I went something... Okay, so again, I picked another manga for an anime that I absolutely love.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the closest thing I have... Well, not even... It's kind of close to like a Western-style comic.
Okay. And when you say Western style, you mean American Western, not like Cowboys Western.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's superhero genre.
Okay.
So, it's... well, I'll just say it's out now. I went with My Hero Academia.
Okay. Well, since you've named it, do you want to just jump in? Let's
sure.
Start.
Like I said, I went with My Hero Academia, which is created by Kohei Horikoshi, which I apologize if I horribly destroyed your name, Kohei. But My Hero Academia is a fascinating... Like I said, I watched the anime. It's actually my favorite anime right now. It's one that I have watched a couple of times. And when we started doing this, I was like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity to read it. Because I've always wanted to read it too. It's fairly close.
Okay.
Not a whole lot of difference from anime to manga, which I actually appreciate. But the story is about this young kid named Izuku Midoriya. And he lives in a world where like 90% of the population has superpowers. Yeah, like
Okay.
generations ago. It never says a year, but they say generations ago, someone was born with powers, and they glue like a light bulb. Yeah, and that's how powers first started coming, and then over the years and over the generations, more and more people started getting superpowers.
Okay.
To the point now where it's rare if you don't have powers. And because of this, superheroine, is that the word?
Sure.
Okay.
We just coined a new word.
Superheroine has become a new profession. There are heroes who are like big named heroes, and there's actually rankings for these heroes, like who's the number 1 hero, who's the number 2 hero, etc. And these heroes have they're like their own businesses.
Oh, okay.
They have sidekicks, which are like, you guys go do patrol in that area, I'm going to go do patrol in this area. And like, it's a business that they delegate stuff out.
Interesting.
It's
okay.
a really interesting world. And the hero that Izuku Midoriya looks up to and aspires to be like is the one known as All Might.
Okay.
He is like the hero. The whole reason why Izuku Midoriya looks up to him is because All Might always is able to smile in the face of danger. He's very much a Superman-esque character.
Okay.
But Izuku doesn't have powers.
Oh, so he's one of the few.
Yes.
Okay.
He does not have superpowers. So he really wants to be a hero, but it's almost impossible to be a hero without superpowers. And he keeps talking about how he wants to go to this big, prestigious superhero school called UA. They never exactly say what UA stands for. There's been talk online that UA actually, like it's UA, like University A or whatever. There's been talk that UA is actually Japanese for hero. I've heard all sorts of reasons as to why it's called UA. But no one knows why it's called UA. It's just UA is the Hero Academy.
Okay.
And he wants to go to UA. He's got a classmate named Bakugo, who, this might trigger stuff, Bakugo's my favorite character.
Why will that trigger things?
Bakugo is a jerk.
Oh. Okay, hold on. Bakugo is a jerk like Han Solo is a jerk, or Bakugo is a jerk like
90s Guy Gardner.
Oh, okay.
Bakugo thinks that he is going to be the next number 1 hero, and he hates Izuku Midoriya. They've never quite explained why he hates Izuku Midoriya, at least not in the first book. But he hates Izuku Midoriya. And when Izuku says he wants to go to UA as well, he gets pissed. And he's like, they're not going to take some no-powered human wannabe like you. So he grabs Izuku's notebook, which is something I forgot to mention. Izuku is a hero nerd. Like,
okay.
He's got 40, 50, I think he's got like 50 plus comp notebooks about heroes.
Like research that he's done on them? Okay.
Yeah, like he's writing down everything about these heroes. This is what, this hero does this hero does this hero does this. And so he takes one of his notebooks, burns it, throws it out, intimidating, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
And Izuku Midoriya gets all upset. He's like, well, he just blew up my crap. I'm kind of disappointed. So he starts off walking all depressed, and he's got his chart, because Bakugo has these powers where he creates little explosions in his hands. He sweats nitroglycerin.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so he creates explosions. And
so Guy Gardner with nitroglycerin at his disposal at all times. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But he blows up his notebook, and Izuku's walking with his notebook when a supervillain is running through town. And and it's this goo villain that inserts himself into its victims' bodies and kind of kills them and takes over them and eats them from the inside, I think. They never, if I remember right, they don't exactly quite say, but yeah, he's this really creepy goo monster. And he's trying to kill Izuku. When Izuku gets saved by All Might. All Might comes to the rescue, stops the bad guy, comes to the rescue just as Izuku passes out from being suffocated, because the guy's going in his mouth, stops the bad guy, and Midoriya wakes up, and, All Might's standing there like, "Ha ha, hero, I have saved you!" And he's even, autographed his notebook for him. And so, Izuku's freaking out, going, oh my god, this is happening. And he's like, "See you around, citizen!" And he leaps off.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's very much like that. He's like,
okay.
"Ha ha!" And he leaps off, not realizing when he leaped off, Midoriya grabbed onto his leg and is dragging behind him. So they're flying through the air. He lands on the roof, and they start having this conversation about, like, I want to be a hero too. And he's like, you don't have powers, ha ha. And he's like, but I can be a hero. And the big puff of smoke happens around All Might. And when Midoriya looks back at him, he's this decrepit, thin, skeletal-looking guy.
Oh.
Yeah. And you find out that All Might got into a fight a few years ago that, I mean, he's got this massive scar on his body. And he can only stay in his All Might form for, like, maybe an hour at a time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So he's kind of, like, weakened from time to time.
Okay.
And he
almost like Ultraverse Prime. I mean,
yeah.
Like Prime didn't. I don't think Prime had like a time limit. I'm not. I don't think so. Yeah, it's been so long since I've read any of those. But he was this frail young kid.
Yeah. Only instead of a frail young kid, he's a frail adult.
Sure.
But yeah. But he still tells him, "Look, kid, you don't have powers. You can't be a hero." So Midoriya walks away from that all upset, and then. It turned out during that whole interaction when he was hanging onto the leg, the villain that All Might captured put him in a soda bottle because he's liquid. It fell out of his pocket while Midoriya was hanging onto him. So the villain got free.
Sure. And
started rampaging again and attacked Bakugo. Because Bakugo's powerful and he wants to, eat on Bakugo's power or something. And, Bakugo's doing his Bakugo, I'm going to blow up shit while this guy's attacking me. And everyone's like, oh no. How are we going to help this kid? They're all kind of like, and the heroes that are there are like, stay back. We don't know how to beat this guy. I mean, they're not just like, oh no, he's a jerk. How will we help him? I said that wrong. It wasn't like that. It was more like, like they were serious, like, oh no, how are we going to help this kid?
We don't want to do it. Please, no, don't do that.
Yeah. It wasn't a Willy Wonka meme. No, stop, don't.
My God. Why would you ever? Please.
Yeah, no. It wasn't like that. They were legit concerned because... But Bakugo's like 14, 15. These kids, they're kids. Mm-hmm. Like any manga.
Sure.
And he's being attacked by this goo monster. The goo monster's trying to eat him and Bakugo's fighting back. And the heroes that did show up were like, we don't know how to fight this thing. Our best guess right now is to just keep citizens at bay so that they don't get involved. Midoriya sees it, sees Bakugo, thinks... oh no, that's Bakugo, my classmate, and at one time when they were kids, my friend. And he goes charging in going, I'll save you. And they're like, kid, why are you going? He goes, I don't know, my legs won't stop moving. So he goes running in and keeps trying to pull the goo off of Bakugo. Without any powers, he runs in. And everyone's just like, what? Long story short, All Might was actually there as a citizen in his frail form. Saw Midoriya run in. And goes, if that kid can do this, I can become a hero again real quick. I can push my limits. Because he'd be pushing his limits to turn back to his...
Sure.
So he pushes his limits, goes back in, does his Texas Smash or whichever one. He always does states. It's like Detroit Smash or Texas Smash. Or it's hilarious. I love it.
All right.
But he does his Smash ability, defeats the monster, and, says, that was a dumb move, Midoriya, but... good job.
Oh my God, I would watch an entire show of just you doing All Might if that was the voice that was going to come out. Good job. Anyway, sorry, go on.
So, they go on, Midoriya walks home, and then All Might runs in front of him. And All Might always does this thing that always cracks me up. All Might goes, here I am, stepping in front of your way! He does like that shit all the time. But he's like, Midoriya, you show bravery when no one else would. You ran up, and he goes, I am going to help you become a hero. I am going to give you my power.
Oh.
And you find out that All Might's power... is a power unlike any other that was passed down from generation to generation. It's one that you can give someone.
Oh.
All Might has a power set called One for All. Because it's one person giving it all. I don't want to spoil too much anything because I do know a lot what happens in the anime, but there is a antithesis to that.
Oh.
But he's got a power called One for All. And he can give his power to Midoriya. Midoriya then spends the summer working out. He's got him cleaning a beach that's all decrepit, and he's giving him a special workout regimen. And Midoriya is doing everything he can to get into shape because the way his body is right now could not handle
the power when it Mm-hmm.
So throughout the summer, Midoriya works out. All Might's like, "Ha ha! You've done it!" And
keep going.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
One of these days, I'm going to have you do an entire review in the All Might voice.
There's All Might. I'll have to, All Might's hair is
All Might!
Yeah, this here is All Might.
Yeah.
His hair is he's got bunny ears.
Yeah.
So I'd have to,
All Might!
Yeah. I mean, it's very much like that the whole time.
All right.
But yeah, he goes, "All right, you did it. Here." And he plucks a piece of his hair out and he goes, "Eat this." Yeah. And Midoriya's like,
"What?"
Midoriya makes the same face. And he goes, "Yeah, you gotta consume some of my DNA to get my power."
Well, I guess it could have been worse.
I don't think it's a kid's book after that.
No, if it goes there, it's not. Okay.
But yeah, so he eats the hair, and he's like, "Okay, you're good. Now, tomorrow is your test to see if you can get into UA. Good luck." So he doesn't even know how to use the power, how to control the power, how to activate the power, or anything. He says, "Here it is. Have fun." And Midoriya's like, "I don't feel any different. What the hell?" Next day happens. He goes to UA. They have this entrance.
This is all in Volume 1?
Yeah.
Holy cow, this is a lot. Okay. Go on.
He goes to this is well, no, this isn't close to the end. This is halfway through.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and it's not even that thick of a book.
No, it's just a normal sized manga.
Yeah, it's they cover a lot in this.
Wow, okay.
But he goes to the school, they tell them this is the entrance exam, this is what you have to do to get in. You basically have to fight robots, and whatever robots you kill, you get points.
Okay.
They all go in, he meets other students there that are really cool. Some are cool, some are not.
Well, yeah, you gotta have a supporting cast.
Right. And this test starts happening, and all the other students are just beating the living tar out of all the other robots. And he's not getting any of them, because he doesn't know how to use his power. Mm-hmm. When one of them is about ready to step on this girl he met outside, who I think is going to be his love interest in the long run.
Okay.
But it's about to step on her because she's kind of exhausted her powers. She's got a power where she goes she touches somebody and then the gravity turns off on them.
So they just start floating?
Yeah. She can do it to objects too. She can make a boulder float and then she goes like that and then it turns back on and it goes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a cool power. And she can touch herself to make herself float.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
her superhero name is Uravity.
But he goes to try to save her, and it's about to step on her, and he gets ready to punch, and his body starts to glow. I don't know if it's really glowing for everyone else to see, or if that's just for the audience to see. They never really say. My assumption it's for the audience to see. Or I guess readers, not audience.
Well, same difference.
But he starts to glow. He leaps up and he just punches this robot, and just when and this thing's like the size of Godzilla, and he clocks it, and it just damn near explodes and destroys it all right there. Yeah, very much like All Might. The only problem is there are 3 robots that have points, and then there's 1 robot that has no points. It's just supposed to be there to get in your way. Guess which one he punched?
Of course, that's my kind of luck. That's the Parker luck.
Yeah,
is what that is.
But he did it to save Uravity.
Mm.
Because otherwise she would have gotten crushed.
Okay.
And then when he does it, he breaks his legs from the jump, from the power exerting on his body. It shatters the bones in his legs. And when he makes the punch, it shatters his arm muscles, his arm bones. That's how powerful One for All is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Until you can control it, it will break your bones.
Okay.
And then he comes falling to Earth, and he's like, well, I guess this is it. I saved her, but I'm going to die. But Uravity's able to touch him and slow his descent.
Is this the international sign for...
No, this is his broken arm.
I guess I'm going to die.
This is his broken arm, flailing in the air.
See you later.
Now,
I'm dead now.
But now we gotta say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
So yeah, he falls, Uravity saves him, yada yada. You find out later that he gets accepted to UA after all. because of his heroic act.
So kind of like the Harry Potter trials, or the game, the World Cup, or what's that called? Yeah, I'm not up on my
Goblet of Fire.
Goblet of Fire. I'm not up on my Potterverse, but yeah, like how Harry saves the the other people in the water. Okay, got it.
Yeah, and he gets points from that. In fact, even Uravity asks if she can give her points to him because he saved her.
Oh wow, okay.
But they're like, no, he's cool. He's getting in, and they also have a written exam which he aced because he's a nerd.
Sure.
Like us. Anyway, he gets into school. He gets assigned a teacher, a guy named Aizawa, who is Mrs. Prime's favorite character. Aizawa is, if All Might is Superman, Aizawa's Batman.
Oh, so he doesn't have powers?
He has powers. I'm talking personality-wise.
Oh, okay, okay.
Aizawa's powers is, if he looks at you, he shuts off your powers. And you don't get him back until he closes his eyes or blinks. Yeah. His superhero name is Eraserhead.
I think David Lynch would have something to say about that.
But yeah, Aizawa's their teacher, and apparently Aizawa is notorious for basically kicking students out within the first day. To the point where 1 year he kicked his entire class out of the entire program.
So very much like Batman.
Yes, he's very strict. And he has them all run tests so he can see where they're at. And throughout the entire thing, Midoriya is not using his powers. Because he's like, if I use my powers, I'm going to break my bones.
Sure.
Which, by the way, side note, after his bones got broken, the school has a nurse that when she kisses your boo-boos, they heal. That's her power.
Nurse, I think I broke my, anyway, go on. Bye-bye!
So he's testing them on their powers. I'm going to skip that. So he's testing them on their powers. And Midoriya is not using his powers throughout the entire thing. And Aizawa, for sure, notices this. Because Aizawa is not an idiot. And finally, he has them do this test where he has them throw a baseball to see how long they can throw it, but they can use their power.
Okay.
So like Bakugo, who also got into UA, because you have to have Bakugo there, when he throws the ball, he actually has a little explosion happen behind it.
Which propels it
right.
more. Yeah, sure.
Uravity turns the gravity off on the ball, sends it flying. They all can use their powers.
Sure.
Midoriya, being Midoriya is, you throughout the manga and the anime, you find out that he is overthinking and is constantly plotting and figures out that he can focus all of his powers in just one finger.
Oh.
So when he throws the ball, his finger breaks, but he's able to put his power behind the ball.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Cardinals could use that guy on the mound.
Yeah, but he'd get, 8 pitches?
Well, that's all you need to get through the inning.
For a bullpen.
Well, that's true.
But yeah, so he breaks his finger.
No, that could get you through, what? That could get you through 3 innings.
2 2/3.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Unless you decide to walk it. Whatever.
Yeah, anyway, yeah.
He throws the ball. Aizawa's like, alright, thanks, you guys have all been ranked. I know I told you last place I was going to kick out, which is something I forgot to mention. He told them all last place is going to be kicked out. I lied. Y'all are safe. That's what he tells them. He was really going to kick out the last place person, but the last place person was Midoriya, and he's like, that's interesting that he was able to focus then change that quickly.
Oh, okay.
So Aizawa takes notice of that right away. Then they start doing normal school stuff, classes, etc., a few pages here and there. And finally, at the very end, they get told they're going to do a lesson with the new teacher at UA. The one who signed up to help them become heroes. And here he is, charging into the room! All Might is a teacher at UA.
But is that the hook? Is that
No, that's not the hook.
Because that is like, how is that possible?
What do you mean?
How is All Might the teacher if Midori has the power?
He didn't lose his power.
Oh.
Yeah, All Might didn't lose his power when he gave it to Midoriya.
Oh, Midoriya.
Midoriya.
Okay.
Yeah.
So All Might's still out there. Midoriya has the power and won't necessarily become All Might.
Right.
He'll just become another hero with that same power set.
Well, and then the power sets build on top of each other too.
Okay.
So if somebody with, like, say, fire powers gets one for all, they'll have one for all plus fire. The next person will have one
Sure.
for all, fire, and whatever they have.
Sure. But Midoriya doesn't have any
Right.
powers, so he just gets the one for
Right.
all.
Which you also, I think it's in this book, you find out neither did All Might when All Might got one for all.
Oh, interesting.
He was quirkless. They call it quirks. He was quirkless.
Okay. So what is the hook then?
Hook
in this one.
This is where the hook comes in. Is you find out that All Might is going to teach them team battles where they're going to partner up. Two people are going to be heroes. Two people are going to be bad guys. Heroes have to fight bad guys in a city location. And the hook is they get their costumes, and it's them walking out with their costumes on.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's neat.
In fact,
That's very cool.
let me show you. We can post. I don't know if we post. That's them walking out with their. That's Bakugo.
Okay. Oh, I've seen that guy before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's your hook.
Okay.
Is they're all walking out in their superpowers or
Cool.
their costumes.
Cool.
But yeah, and like I said, there's a lot that happens in
That's a ton in that one book. So let me ask you some questions about
Yes.
it then. So, what did you watched the anime
Yes.
first,
Yes.
right? Okay. So, which do you prefer?
Well, I've only read the first one of this so far.
Okay.
I did buy like 4 or 5 when I bought this one.
Okay.
But I've only read this one so far. It depends on, I guess, the mood I'm in, actually.
Okay.
If I'm feeling lazy, if I don't want to read, the anime's my go-to choice. But if I do actually want to read, I do enjoy reading the mangas as well.
Do you because preference and quality are two very different
Yeah.
things. So, do you think that one is better than the other?
No.
They're both equally good in their own mediums.
I think so, yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, there are a few things that the manga does better. There are a few things that the show does better. The anime does better when it comes to cuts, like where you have to have random cuts. Like Midoriya is talking about as a little kid. They show little kid Midoriya. He's like, "Yay, I'm gonna be a hero, running around, yay!" And then it cuts to a hospital, and the doc's like, "Yeah, you're not gonna be a hero."
So they can, you can condense moments a little bit visually,
Well, it's
or expand visually,
Yeah,
depending on what the scenario is. That's true, yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's where the anime is better. The manga's better though because you can spend more time studying the
Sure.
images, and then in between each manga, they've got little like profile things about the characters.
Oh, I love that. I've noticed that
Yeah.
in a few mangas that there are some that do that in these collections.
Yeah,
you know,
in these full volumes.
Yeah, I've noticed that. That's cool. That's nice.
But yeah.
Almost like a who's who includes.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then
that's
sometimes
cool.
they even have little fun stories at the end too.
And that's helpful because not every manga, I suppose, but certainly stuff like this, the casts are so big
Massive.
that it helps to have those who's built in.
Massive.
That's nice. I didn't have that same issue with my choice for this
Oh.
week because there aren't, at least as of now, there aren't that many characters. But I did volume 1 of Parasyte
Oh.
because, well, I love horror
Yeah.
and weird stuff, and I've heard that this is amazing. It's by Hitoshi Iwaki. I'm sure I mispronounced that. Again, very sorry. Yes, I had no clue what to expect from this.
I've watched a few episodes of the anime. I'm
Have
curious
you?
of your thoughts.
So basically, and again, as you guys know, if you've watched the other episodes, I have a tough time remembering character names.
He'll get there.
I'll get there eventually, so I constantly have to keep referencing the books. But his full name is Shinichi, I think.
I think that sounds
But I guess they always refer to him as Shin. And it was interesting because unlike some of the other stuff I've read where they just expect you to buy into the world, this actually starts where the world is normal. And these little spore-like things come to Earth from space somewhere. And they're almost like eggs. They hatch and these little worms come out. Almost like, did you ever see the James Gunn movie Slither?
I did not.
Oh, you've got to watch Slither if you like James Gunn, if you like Michael Rooker, if you like Nathan Fillion. It's a fantastic movie, over the top, about these little worms that crawl into people's heads and turn them into zombies.
I'm trying to think if we have it.
If you don't, I do, and I will send it home with you.
I guess
today.
I'm watching Slither tonight.
But anyway, it was kind of like Slither in that there's these little worms, and kind of Wrath of Khan style, they would find somebody and crawl into their ear.
Ooh.
Because what they do is they go into a human body and eat the brain and take over the body, essentially. Like the head and the brain are pretty much no longer there, and that is this alien creature.
Like a parasite.
Like a parasite would be. And it can morph its shape and everything. The rest of the body is human, but it's pretty much dead and almost zombified, reanimated, and controlled by this parasite. Well, Shin wakes up right as it's about to go into him, and he ends up pulling it out. I think it goes in through his nose.
Ooh.
And he pulls it
I
out.
remember that.
Yeah, he pulls it out of his nose, and he's like freaking out, and then it goes into his hand. So it starts to climb through his arm. So he grabs this wire or something, and he wraps this wire and ties it off. And so he's holding this wire.
Like a tourniquet?
Almost, yeah. And this thing is trying to get up there, but he's cutting the blood flow off, and so it can't go, and it's stuck in his arm, and it keeps going back and forth. His parents come in, because I think he's 15 at this time.
Sure, like every year.
His parents come in. They're like, what is all this racket? And they see him sitting there with this tourniquet, and they're like, are you on drugs? And
I can see how that would,
it doesn't look good. And he's like, no, listen, there's this thing, and it was trying to crawl in me, and it cut through my hand. And they're like, where? And the cut is gone. Like, it's not there anymore.
Wow.
So, okay, the next day, his hand starts to morph and change, and it has an eyeball. And basically, the parasite thing that would take over a head and a brain, it basically removes his hand and takes over his hand.
Gotta hand it to him.
Yeah, right. So his hand is the parasite and operates the exact same way as it would on a body, but because it didn't take over the brain, it's like two entities operating in the same body, very much like Venom.
I was just about to say, like a symbiotic relationship.
It's exactly like a symbiotic relationship, because what happened was, Shin even says, well, what's to stop you from just climbing through and getting to my brain? He's like, I can't. I've already matured. We mature very fast. And I've already matured in your arm. I no longer can connect to your brain. This is where I'm stuck. And if you die, I will die. And if I die, you just lose a hand. Which, obviously, he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to lose his hand.
Sure.
So they end up forming this weird symbiotic relationship between the two. And it's really fascinating because he's like, I can't just keep calling you demon. And I can't just keep calling you worm. Do you have a name? And he's like, well, we don't really have names.
Of course not.
And he's like, but I'm your right hand, and I guess Miggy, I guess is how you pronounce it. It's either Miggy or Midgie. I'm not sure. I said Miggy when I was reading
I don't remember how they pronounce it in the anime.
Anyway, he's like, well, that means right hand.
Yeah.
He's like, so let's just, that's my name, Miggy. Okay, that's cool. So he's like, tell you what, you sleep at night, and I'll stay up and read and learn and expand my mind. So what happens is that when Miggy's asleep, his hand is just normal. It's a normal human-looking hand.
Okay.
But when Miggy wakes up, he forms eyeballs in the hand, and the hand stretches.
Like on the cover of the book.
Just like on the cover of the book. But the hand also stretches and morphs like Mr. Fantastic or Ms. Marvel or Carnage or Venom. It can change shape.
Or Guy Gardner Warrior.
Or Guy Gardner Warrior.
I'm gonna make sure I get Guy Gardner in every episode from here on out.
And it can change the density
Oh.
as well. So it can turn into the shape of a knife or a dagger, and then change its density so it can be an actual knife or dagger.
Huh. Pretty sharp. I'm here all day.
Bye. So when you know what happens is that Miggy starts to realize that he can sense where others of his kind are.
Oh.
And
I didn't even think of others.
there are many others, and they're in hiding.
Boy, I maybe only watched one episode of this.
Maybe. They're in hiding. And so what happens is they feed on whatever form they end up taking. So at one point they track down one that he senses. They go to it and find it. And if you don't get the brain of a human in Miggy's species, it's considered failure. And so this other one's like, oh, you failed too? I failed too. Because it took over the brain of a dog.
Oh.
So technically, that's failure.
That's rough.
Oh my god. Wow. We want to keep viewers, not lose them.
With comedic gold like this, we will.
Oh, is that right? Well, yeah, so naturally he's eating, a dog.
Mm-hmm.
So the ones that have taken over humans have to eat humans. Now, Miggy doesn't, because Miggy is just a hand.
Sure.
Therefore, like a hand would operate, like the blood cells in the hand, it all operates off of the circulatory system of a human. So it feeds off of Shin.
Oh, like a symbiote.
Like a symbiote. Right, exactly.
Or a parasite.
Or a parasite, yeah. So, but the problem is that the others that are out there, they all feed on humans.
Like zombifies?
Sort of, yeah. There is a constant commentary running throughout the book from news networks talking about the mincemeat murders. That there's this serial killer the mincemeat murders. What they don't realize, and what Shin and Miggy know, is that it's not necessarily one person carrying this out. It's the others of Miggy's kind that are, getting their sustenance.
Yeah.
Well, as they're kind of learning how to be with one another, and this takes time. Like by the time he's really comfortable with having Miggy, he's like 16 now, so it almost goes a full year.
Wow.
I mean, there's a lot in here. This is a thicker one, and
16-year-old boy, what that hand has seen.
Yeah. Well, the hand even brings that up. It even brings up arousal and that, because when Shin talks to, I think her name is Morano or Morno or something. Anyway, it's the girl at school that he likes.
Sure.
Shin can tell by the heartbeat and the blood flow and all of that. He's like, after she leaves, he's like, you want to mate with her, don't you? And he's like, what? What are you talking about? And he's like, well, I can sense it. Being a part of you, I can sense it.
Your weenie has suffered from rigor mortis.
Well, and at times it's even funny. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, I have to go to the bathroom. And he's like, wait, what is that thing? What are you doing? And like, because he doesn't know.
Right.
So he's learning about all this stuff. And the one thing that I find interesting is in that moment after he goes to the bathroom, he goes to wash his hands. Well, one of his hands is Miggy.
Yeah.
And he's like, cold water. He doesn't like being cold. So anytime Miggy...
Who does?
Anytime Miggy says something or does something, he throws cold water on. He's like, cold. So anyway, as this is going on, eventually there's a new teacher that comes to school. And her name is Tamiya Ryoko.
Okay.
Tamiya Ryoko.
Okay.
Anyway. And it turns out she's one of them.
Of course.
And she has learned that Shin has Miggy. and that because they can sense each other.
Of course, yeah.
Now she tells him, if I wanted you dead, you would be dead. But I
One of
don't.
those types of villains.
Yeah, she was like, I don't though. So we're gonna work on this together. And Shin keeps trying to interject, and she's like, I'm not talking to you, little one. I'm talking to. And Shin's like, what the hell? Like, why am I sitting here then? But when she meets with him to tell him about all this, she brings this other one with her. And again, they don't have names. She took over the name of the person she took over. This other guy, who's one of the very first people we meet in the book, and we don't realize it's him until later. It keeps, you keep going back to him throughout. It took over him. He ended up killing and eating his whole family, and now he's, moving along. He meets up with her, and they just call him Mr. A. And Mr. A does not have the same reserved quality.
He's more aggressive.
He's much more aggressive. And at one point, the final sequence of this volume, Mr. A has decided, screw this, I'm going after him. And because Miggy and Mr. A they don't get along at all. Miggy doesn't necessarily like or dislike the others.
Sure.
He's starting to take on more of the qualities of Shin.
Oh, okay.
So whereas he wants to eat things because that's his nature, he doesn't necessarily need to. But he also doesn't really care if things live or die. But he even says at one point, well, I guess I should back up before that. They discover that his teacher is pregnant. And
wait. The new teacher, the one
the new teacher.
Okay.
Yeah, the new teacher. And it turns out became impregnated when her and Mr. A met up. So that means she was impregnated after.
Oh, snap.
After she was taken over.
So what's that baby going to be?
That's what they were saying. And she's saying that well, because of me being able to tell what's going on in the body, I'm fairly certain that because it was human bodies and not our kind, it's still a human baby.
Huh.
But she wants to let it give birth because she thinks she can run tests on it. She can experiment on it. She can see what it's going to be, what it's going to be like. And Shin's like, well, we have to kill her. We have to take her out. And Miggy's like, well, yeah, but what about the baby? And he's like, oh, so now you suddenly care? And he goes, no, I don't really give a shit, but, I figured that's what you would say. So what about the baby? And, so he starts to slowly kind of take on Shin's
That's cool.
personality at times.
That's neat, seeing a nice character build and develop.
It is, yeah. So this big fight happens. Mr. A attacks the school that Shin goes to. And, I mean, it's just, Shin almost becomes like a superhero of sorts. Like Spawn or like Venom or something like that. Yeah. Because he uses Miggy to help him fight Mr. A.
Okay.
And defeat Mr. A. Now, he defeats Mr. A, but Mr. A does get away.
Of course.
So he's still out there.
You gotta have a good returning villain.
Right, as does the teacher, whose name I already have forgotten. But anyway, she gets
Ryoko.
away. Yeah, that's it, yeah.
I remember names.
He remembers, I can't. Anyway, so it's very interesting. And the other thing that they discover while talking to Ryoko, most of these Parasyte things, when they take over, they do, just like Miggy can do with the hand, they do the same thing with the head. They can change the shape, they can turn to blades, whatever. And it's the way they come apart. So sometimes when they're about to turn, you'll see 3 or 4 lines across their face diagonally, because that's where it comes apart on those lines. Sometimes it might be lines going up and down because it goes apart that way.
Interesting.
And that's called their patterns.
Oh, okay. Kind of like a fingerprint.
Kind of, yeah. Well, Ryoko has 2 patterns. So she's higher level of some sort. Now, they don't go into detail about what that means, but she's, at least not in this book.
Yeah.
But she's some sort of higher level of them.
Interesting.
And so that's curious. And basically, what occurs is he finally gets to the point where he's like, okay, almost like Eddie Brock does with Venom. He's like, okay,
Sits in a lobster tank and eats lobsters.
right. He's like, we're together. Like we're a duo now. And at the end of the book, his parents are talking about how now that he's old enough to be on his own, they're going to go on their first vacation that they've gone on in forever.
Good for them.
Yes. And he doesn't want them to go.
What? After seeing their kids shoot up heroin, I think they need some time away.
Right. But he doesn't want them to go because he knows all these things are out there.
Oh, shit.
And these things know about him and Miggy, which makes them a target.
Oh.
But Miggy's like, dude, it'll be fine because our kind, we really go to the cities. They're going to like a rural, out of the way, cabin kind of vacation. Like, more than likely, they're fine. And he's like, oh, okay, well then.
More than likely, they're fine means they're not fine.
Well, that's how book one ends. They leave on the vacation, and he's like, crap. Okay, by then I was sold. I was in. But the book has, and it's only in the original Japanese, it has a 3 or 4 page preview of Volume 2.
Oh.
Now, I don't know what happens, because it's all in Japanese, but it looked like his mother was back from vacation, and she had a pattern on her face.
Oh, snap.
Right. Now, again, I'm just going off of images that have... I've not read Volume 2, so I don't know.
Snap.
One of the other...
And only Mom was there?
Yeah, I didn't see Dad in these previews.
She always said he was a snack.
Yeah. Man, had to get another one in, huh? But the other thing in the preview is it showed Shin stabbing himself in the gut.
Porqué?
Got me, wrong language. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, that's Parasyte.
Huh.
That's Parasyte.
Interesting.
It's really good, really really fun, and I will definitely read Volume 2.
Yeah, I know as far as My Hero goes, like I said, my favorite anime. I've already bought 5 volumes. I plan on buying all the other ones that are out there because
There's like 30 of them.
Well, then I'm spending a lot of freaking money. Because holy crap, I'm hooked. And
Same with this. I am hooked.
But it's now that time of the show where we have to swap.
That's right. It is swap time. For those of
The
you,
swap time logo. Swap time.
swap time. Ooh, swap time. Should we have like a theme song? Swap time. Swap time. No.
I think we just got it.
Oh, okay. That's it. Swap time. Swap time.
Da-na-na-na-na.
Swap time. Swap time.
Da-na-na-na-na.
Okay. Anyway, so those of you who are just joining us, if you haven't left after this episode,
They stuck around for my humor.
Is that right? Swap time. Basically, Prime and I will swap the mangas that we have read this week. And then we will do quick little reviews of the other one's manga that are only available on my Big Fat Pull List's Patreon page.
So make sure you sign up for those because you don't want to miss my opinion on Parasyte and his opinion on My Hero Academia.
That's right.
Which I think you're really going to like that.
I think you're going to like that too.
Yeah.
I think it's very much out there that you're going to dig it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I look forward to reading this.
And as always, of course, check out our Patreon, of course, for my Big Fat Pull List. It's patreon.com/my Big Fat Pull List podcast. And of course, we'll have links like we always do below in the video here.
Check out our audio podcasts. You can
Yes.
find them on, Apple, Spotify.
Yeah, all the major,
Yeah,
all the primary platforms that you would use. Yeah,
You'll find a ton of great episodes where we talk about comics, we talk about what we're watching, we talk about
that's right.
upcoming stuff. Like we're trying to stay as current as possible.
We have a great series of episode types on the podcast called "Is It Worth It?"
Yeah.
Where we will, one of us will, or some of us will read or watch something, and then tell you whether it's worth going out and getting and checking out.
Yep.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff
And
out
our
there.
videos here.
And our videos
We
here
have
on
a lot
YouTube.
of videos on YouTube here that aren't just me and him talking.
That's
like
right.
idiots.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, until next time.
Bye-bye! Bye-bye!
Arigato!
Well, folks, that's our show. We hope you liked it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the My Big Fat Pull List YouTube channel so you don't miss another episode of one of our shows.
And don't forget, we have a podcast. Make sure you head on over and search out My Big Fat Pull List podcast on any one of your podcast listening platforms.
And help us keep the lights on by heading on over to www.patreon.com/My Big Fat Pull List. And you'll know that you can get any one of these amazing shirts right there.
Also, hit us up on all of our social media: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.